What's up, everybody? Arrg the Pirate here, and today we're gonna play a little Greystone in the solo lane. Now, it's been a while since we played Greystone, so let's get into the deck. Now, I have Auto Health Potion, Fast Travel, Lifesteal, Healing Towers, Armored, and lastly, Executioner's Rush for my gems. Now, for my cards, I have Exoskeleton, the Mother Tree, Flame of Zetchin, Green Spring, Growth Totem, Guard Piercer, Veil Stepper, Vital Waters, Wound Seeker, Numbing Rogue, Unbroken Spirit, and lastly, one of the tribe. Now, guys, it has been a while since I've played Greystone, and I've been playing Smite lately, so you say 1, 2, 3, and 4 for my abilities, and I'm picking the wrong abilities. I end up not picking up my ultimate at 5, and who doesn't pick their ultimate up with Greystone at level 5? Oh, it feels bad. But I end up picking up Deflect, which is almost useless against Crunch. Guys, if you're laning against a Crunch, don't pick up Deflect right off the bat, because yeah, you know, he hits you with abilities, and Deflect doesn't block those. So I would highly recommend picking up your Jump first, which is what I was going for if, you know, the button was in a different spot. But you know, Crunch is doing an absolute amazing job of not pushing this lane. He's getting his last hits. Of course, since he is going in on me, and, you know, he has hit me a few times, that's pushed his lane naturally. You can see we definitely have the lane set in our favor, but at least he's not just shoving this lane and feeding me. I would definitely like to see more people, you know, slow farm at the beginning, you know, this allows you to get fed. It kind of keeps y'all both in a semi-dangerous situation. You can see here now if Crunch is in a much more dangerous situation than he would be. Now, our Quang, we're in comps with Quang, but he got a DC at the beginning of the match. Luckily, he got in, but his rotation has been kind of goofy. And since we picked up Deflect at the beginning of the match, we don't have our little whirly sword ability. I end up jumping because, you know, again, I'm playing Smite, guys, and, you know, to cancel the ability, you click it, and it feels bad. If we would have saved that jump, you know, he definitely wouldn't have got away. Quang does chase him down a little bit, and, you know, the enemy Quang shows up, so I'm going to kind of head over there in case I need to make something happen, but luckily we're both going to get out. Now, guys, if I would have engaged on that, I would have definitely died. You know, there's 2 heroes up there. I might have been able to kill Crunch, but probably not. It's best just to let him go back. We'll continue to farm, and, you know, that's great. That's exactly what I want. Now, this lane is, you know, it's doing crazy amounts of damage to my lane, so I'm going to go ahead and take out the ranged and, you know, get these melee minions. You know, we're going to slow farm these. That way this lane stacks up and stays towards my side of the map. Greystone is really, really strong when it comes to lane pushing, but since I am in comms with my team, it's going to benefit me much more to be able to rotate and, you know, make plays happen with my team, or just go where I am needed. So, I'm not going to play, you know, just hardcore lane push Greystone, but regardless, I need to get my farm, and you can see I'm kind of locking this lane down. I'm just really kind of waiting to see what Crunch is going to do. The way he was running up, I was kind of worried that Quang was going to, you know, come in and, yeah, it would just be a nightmare. But, again, we're just going to get these last hits. Now, my lane is set. My lane is set against the enemy lane. It's going to naturally push. So, at this point, I'm going to have to start rotating. You know, Crunch really can't engage at this point because my minion wave is so much bigger than his. But since it is set, since it's going to push up there, I'm going to take this opportunity to back. I know he's going to freeze that lane, and you can see he's doing that. You know, he's not swinging at anything. So we're going to go ahead and back. Now, I messed the way I build up. You really want to get another 2 points in Vitality so you can pick up the Mother Tree and keep on Exoskeleton. I'm building towards Veil Stepper. I really like Veil Stepper. It's a great sustain card. And, you know, Possessed Sprite was always one of my #1 cards. But since they removed the power, guys, I think Possessed Sprite is kind of just a waste of a card now. You know, it locks your in-game down and offers just a ton of sustain, which, you know, in-game you don't need sustain. Now, again, you see me, I'm hitting buttons wrong here. We're going to go ahead and dive that Zinx a little bit. You know, we do have our dot damage. I'm hoping that's going to, you know, kind of take her shields down a little bit. Maybe our Countess can actually, you know, make a play happen. We are not in comms with Countess, so, you know, we're in a 4-stack. So, you know, we're just going to have to trust that she's making those right judgment calls. And sure enough, you know, she was able to get out of that situation, especially since their Quang showed up. I'm going to rotate back to my lane, just kind of see what Crunch is doing. Of course, you know, he's slow farming. Now, he has hit level 5, so we definitely have to be careful with that. And, you know, Crunch's stuns, guys. Oh, those Crunch stuns. But he's got a huge advantage over me. And here it is, guys. I picked up Deflect instead of my ultimate, which, again, Deflect is useless against Crunch. Now, we are in comms, like I said, with Quang, and, you know, he said, hey, let's do some work. And so I'm going to go in, but when their enemy jungler showed up, it's time to get out, guys. You know, I'm very low, and I don't have my ultimate because I'm just absolutely terrible. Now, since I was forced to back, I had to back early, and I don't have enough points to put on Veil Stepper. So I'm going to go ahead, try to get my farm, and then, you know, Crunch is freezing the lane anyway. So my lane's going to be set against him. I'm just going to get my farm as best that I can, and then I'm going to back, put on Veil Stepper, and then we might actually be able to make something happen. But again, Crunch is doing a great job of freezing this lane, so I don't want him to free. You know, I want to make sure this lane is getting pushed in the right direction. I did use my Whirly Sword, whatever it's called, and since I used that, my lane is going to push because, you know, we did damage to those minions. He's going to freeze the lane again, so I'm just going to go ahead and back, throw on that Veil Stepper, but this is going to allow me to rotate, and, you know, maybe we can make a play mid lane, something like that. You know, freezing the lane is great, and I strongly recommend for those early stages, but at the same time, this does free your enemy, or, you know, the enemy. It frees them up to make rotations, things like that, and if they can get, you know, easy ganks, you know, that's definitely hurtful. Now, I am going to head towards my team. You know, they're having a big engagement, but I'm going to head over to Zinx because I don't want Zinx to go over there, and we're just going to distract her for a little bit. And, you know, sure enough, that kept her in mid lane, which she didn't look like she was rotating anyways. But, you know, we did not want her to head over to that engagement with that, you know, huge stun she has. That would have been just absolutely terrible. So we were able to, you know, make sure that fight happened the way we wanted it to. Crunch ends up going in on the Aqua buff. I was trying to steal it, but we didn't quite get it. But that's quite alright. We've got Black to kind of negate some of that healing, and, you know, we've got our ultimate, so, you know, not doing too horrible. I'm going to head to my, you know, back to the minion wave, and I want to get on this side of the minion wave. You know, you see he's got a ton of ranged minions. Now, if you look, my Countess and Quang are heading in. That's the only reason I'm staying in on this fight. You know, these minions are going to devastate me. Most of that damage was from the minions, not from Crunch. And you see, we distracted him long enough for our Countess and Quang to show up, take him out absolutely no problem. And this is actually going to allow us to hard push this lane, get it under tower, and hopefully make an impact on this tower. You know, the tower game is, you know, definitely in our favor with us having that duo lane down already. Gonna go ahead and get my Whirly Swords going so we can take out those minions and just stay in on this tower. Now, they're Quang heads up, but I see Countess. She's not leaving, so I'm not gonna leave either. Unfortunately, she's the one taking tower aggro, but we end up taking that tower down. I don't recommend ever dying for a T1, but if you are going to die for it, make sure you take the T1 down. And, you know, hey, me and Countess, we were able to do that. Now, from here, I'm just kind of looking, seeing, hey, what do I need to do? I'm going to go ahead and back. Crunch is slow farming again. And, you know, since we have vision on him, we can see if he's swinging or not. But he's slow farming, so there's no reason for me to stay there. I'm going to head to mid lane, see if we can make something happen in mid lane. Zinc shows up. You know, my team's missing, so I'm just going to go ahead and get this lane shoved. That way, you know, Countess has time to rotate over. We might be able to make a play happen if that is the case. But, you know, it wasn't going to work out. Zinx is very low, but we couldn't make it happen. No problem at all. we're gonna then rotate back to our lane. Our Queen is heading over there to cover that lane, just in case, you know, Crunch does manage to get some damage on that tower. You know, he probably has a pretty big minion wave, so gonna have to deal with that. And then we're gonna go ahead and take this lane back from Quang, let him go do his jungle things, and get this lane set and pushing in the right direction. Now, guys, I am kind of in a good spot. I can rotate, make real good rotations, things like that. So I'm going to just set my lane and rotate. I've got really no reason to stay in that lane, even if he counter pushes it. That's quite all right. I want my tower to fall. I've got their tower down. I'm able to make rotations, and we can make impacts elsewhere. So, you know, yeah. And now we misjudged some things there. Oh, it feels bad, and then Crunch heads in, and oh, we're going to get absolutely melted, guys. Oh, look at that damage. Look at the damage. And yeah, nothing we can do. That Quang ulted right whenever I jumped in. You know, I thought our Quang had him tethered. That was bad. But my team is actually going to make some decent progress, and they're able to, you know, clean some things up. At least they get this Quang kill, and, you know, Zinx is fairly low, you know, so we traded a solo laner for a jungler, and that's definitely not the worst case scenario. Now, from here, I'm going to go throw on Growth Totem. I had Flame on earlier. I thought I threw on Growth Totem instead of Flame. Guys, I'll probably never use Flame again because they took the attack speed off. Like I said, I used it to secure Fang, and I didn't use it to... I never really stacked it up or anything. I really used it for the attack speed, so it's not near as important to me anymore. Now, the enemy team heads over, and you can see Quang does have his sword under Fangtooth. And then you see him, he's waiting around. He's going to ultimate this Fangtooth when it gets low. But our phase does have Flame, so she's going to be able to secure Fang before he can. You know, we kind of ran up there to see what Quang was doing. We want to keep vision off of him, but she was able to say, hey, I got Flame. I'm going to take it out, no problem. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and dip out. Now, my team kind of stays in, and I'm going to... Okay, I guess we can stay in, but we needed to leave that situation. Then phase ulted me, so I'm going to head back in. We should have got out of that. Everybody on our team should have got out. We went and stacked, you know, our team kind of split up instead of running through the jungle away, and that's what really cost us that, you know, that not having that team coordination of, hey, let's get out because the team is collapsing. You know, yeah, you can kind of see that big mistake, and then me turning around, I should have left, you know. That was definitely on me, but feels bad. But, you know, hey, we gotta move on. Now, once I finally do spawn back in, I'm gonna get lane situated. You know, we had 4 people downed right there, which is absolutely huge. I got mid lane secured, and then I'm gonna get my lane secured. You know, Crunch did a pretty good job as to getting that lane set, and we're gonna get it, you know, pushing in the right direction. Pick up this river buff, and then, you know, I'm kind of thinking, hey, maybe we can make something happen. We were kind of sieging that mid lane tower, but they've got some pretty good defenses around it, so, you know, we're going to have to leave it alone. I then head back to my lane, and I'm going to go in on this Crunch. Like I said, guys, I honestly don't care if he downs my tower, but he can't really hit me as long as he's under tower, so I'm just going in on him. And, you know, sure enough, that backed him off. We weren't able to capitalize on that kill, but, you know, hey, that's alright. Countess is chasing a little bit, and I'm just going to get that lane set, get it pushing in the right direction, and then I'm going to rotate elsewhere. You know, maybe we can actually make something happen in mid lane. Since their ADC and their mid laner have just kind of been hanging out in mid lane, we should be able to make something happen. Now, I was thinking about diving, but that jump, and with their team all here, Crunch comes in, and oh man, he made a fatal error. We're able to take him out, and you know, I'm looking for, you know, a time to jump in. We should be able to dive this. I've got my ultimate, you know, with FaZe here, with Quang here, you know, we might be able to really make a play happen. We just have to wait for the right time, and it's really just turning into a siege that, you know, we need to break this off. It is 4v5, but, you know, we're not making any progress, and it'd be better to make progress elsewhere. You know, our duo lane is set against us, although our solo lane is pushing. You know, it's it's very hard to win team fights under the enemy's tower. And, you know, hey, just break off. I'm going to go ahead, head back, put on Veil Stepper, and then maybe I can come back and have an impact. Now, again, we kind of run into that same situation, you know, that we have that siege going on in mid lane. I was gonna go for green, and then I saw Quang, and it's just like, okay, get out. Now, you know, unfortunately, Countess goes down. Quang is here, and, you know, my team says, hey, let's take him out. So, sure enough, we're gonna do some work. I end up heading over, you know, they zap my ultimate. Guys, it's very difficult to actually take down, you know, someone when they're under tower like that. But the good thing is that did push them, that did force them to back. That's going to allow us to get a pretty decent wave under this tower, and we're actually going to take this tower out. You know, our Quang does, you know, have to tank a few tower hits, but guys, towers hit so weak. It's no problem. From here, it's Fang time, baby. So we're going to head over to Fang and take it out, no problem. Now, we're going to go ahead and pick up this Fang, you know, our second Fang of the match, and which, you know, hey, is nice. I'm very low, though, or I'm half health and out of mana. I need a back. Let's go ahead, you know, back, top off on everything. Guys, I like this deck. You know, this is a pretty common deck that I've used for solo jungles. And, you know, I like this deck because you've got that option to build damage or to build sustain. Whatever you really need. Now, we did have some awesome follow-up from that Countess. We probably wouldn't have gotten Zinx, you know, just hitting her, but that follow-up by her, you know, that's awesome. We're able to take her out, no problem. You know, shutting down Zinx is huge at this point because she's such a tank, and she's just a pain with that stun. From here, guys, it's time. It's prime time, baby. We just don't know it yet. We're going to head to prime, and we take it out. Now, again, my FaZe and my Quang, we're in comms together. I'm not in comms with our Murdoch, but, you know, he went that way, and that was an awesome choice on his part. Now, I went into tower, and I started tanking the tower. The minions, guys. Oh, the minions. But I don't care. I got prime. Let's tank some tower hits. Doesn't bother me at all. And we're actually going to be able to shove this lane into this inhib, and we get our first inhib. You know, that prime play, that was an awesome prime play. You know, it's time to get out now, though. Unfortunately, our FaZe, she's going to end up going down at this point. You know, hey, it's best to turn and run, and you know that's what we got to do. You know, losing a support for a T2 and an inhib, guys, that's worth it every day. So, you know, that was a great play on our part. You know, unfortunately, she did die, but hey, you know, it was for the cause, baby. From here, you know, we're sitting pretty. You know, we don't really need a whole lot. You know, we could go back and maybe put on a card, but hey, we're doing all right. We got our growth totem on. We've got a decent, you know, mid-game deck. And, you know, let's try to make some plays happen. Now we're all kind of stacking up in mid, and we're doing this poke game, and I say, you know what? This is it. This is it right here. Quang gets that root. I'm going to go ahead and dive this tower, guys. And even if I get taken out, I got my ultimate. Boom. You know, hey, awesome play. You know, this play ended up getting us a triple kill. We're able to shove this lane into the next, you know, into this mid inhib. And guys, that combination of that Quang tether, you know, that Muriel, she was forced to bubble that. And then we went and dove, and we got on the other side of Murdoch. So if he did, you know, when he did shotgun me away, he didn't shotgun me straight back. From here, I'm actually going to head to our duo lane, get this duo lane shove. You know, really, looking back now, we probably could have ended. I didn't realize we actually took 4 of them out. I still thought they had 2 up. Looking back now, we probably could have actually ended there. But hey, there's no problem with taking down all 3 inhibs. You know, it's not a problem at all. And we end up actually doing exactly that. We get that tier 2 in the duo lane, and then shove into that solo lane, or shove into the duo lane in him. Well, I'm going across, man. But we take this out, and guys, this is GG. You know, this was a great match. You know, they ended up surrendering, but hey, you know, we got the win. And guys, those couple of plays we made, they made the world of difference, and it feels awesome. This was such a fun match, and I definitely needed a fun Paragon match. Well, that's gonna wrap it up for this Greystone guide. He's still such a solid hero, and I really like Greystone. But thanks for watching, guys, and if you did enjoy, show me some love, leave me a comment, think about subscribing, join our Discord if you haven't done it. I'd love to see some of y'all in there, and as always, I'll see y'all in the next video.